We have a fourth line day. We're in gate 47, the gate of realizing and oppression. And the fourth line is called repression. So here we come to the upper trigram. And in coming to the upper trigram, we come to the transpersonal capacity. In the lower trigram, it is personal destiny to be oppressed. It is a personal destiny to deal with what it means to only be able to make sense out of things and to be dependent on the other that you don't know. In the upper trigram, with this transpersonal gift, they can say, I know there's another at the other end. I know there's a 64 at the other end of this channel. I also know there's the possibility of the 11 over there on the other side of the ajna. When you get to the fourth line and the upper trigram, you get to externalization and to the one-track process. The fourth line is very much aware that there's another side, but it is hoping that what is on the other side can relieve its oppression. And then it ends up seeing that not only can the other side not do that, but the other side is actually the ones repressing them. There's a lifetime learning here. It says the constraints of external oppression. So we know the fourth line is all about externalizing. It's the foundation of the upper trigram. It's the expression of the completion of the lower trigram. The constraints of external oppression. Here is the fourth line. They've got this realization, and they know that in order to get that realization into an idea, they have to meet the other, you know. But they also know that sense is not answer. Answer is always a formula. Answers are logical, but this is abstract. It's not so hard to get an answer to an opinion. You know, it's not like trying to get sense to the idea. They look like similar processes, but they are very different, and the abstract is more difficult to achieve. Logic is kind of easier to transfer. That's why logic is so important to us. But the sense, that's not so easy to transfer. And so the difficulty that we have in the fourth line is that they're ready to externalize the sense of things, but nobody seems to get it at the other end. And when they do get it, an idea out of the sense of something, oh, well, the idea could be anything. there's a plethora of things that idea could be made into. The framework, when an answer goes to an opinion, is quite tight. You know, there's still a spectrum, but it's within the logical constraints. Well, when you're on the abstract side, there's no such constraint. A sense of something can lead to anything. In the exaltation, we have the strength of identity that even in times of the most powerful oppression can maintain its resources and to some extent ensure survival for the benefit of others. A sense of identity that can be maintained despite external conditioning. These people have a very fixed thing that they cannot make sense out of. They may be able to make sense out of all kinds of other things, but there is one thing, and the fixed nature of the fourth line, they can't let it go. They can't make sense out of it, and it's the thing that disturbs them the most. A lot of these channels, these three channels between the ajna and the head, they have a kind of looping quality. And you find that here, especially in the fourth line with the 47. It kind of loops around and it loops around. You can't make sense of it. You can't let go of it. And it just keeps going. And they're trying to get it resolved and there's no resolution. And it is something that comes from the outside. They're hoping that the outside is going to be able to resolve it. They are looking, they are trying to externalize the experience. Our fourth lines are teachers. They have great influence. They can be missionaries. You know, they are the ones that through their very rigid conviction to their fixed concept, they can carry enormous influence for others. They can benefit others. And that is inherent here. You know, they can come to the realization that not everybody can get the sense out of what they've made sense out of, because that is the difficulty of the abstract process. And if they're living out their design, then in their geometry, those forces will come into their life who will be able to take and make an idea out of that sense. You know, that idea then ultimately can be of value to others. But if they give up, and they give up so often, you know, the fourth line is an abdicator. This is a keynote for the fourth line. They give up and then they get mentally depressed and they go into that loop of nobody understands me, they don't see me, nobody values me, I can't make sense out of it. All of this jumble of stuff goes round and round and round. So in the detriment, we have when robbed of its light, the moon is lost in darkness, barely able to nourish itself, let alone others. The identity overwhelmed by external conditioning. So this is where the fourth line can collapse. It can burn out, give up. The moment that you give up on the mind being your inner authority, that's the moment that all of these mental channels begin to operate the way that they should, and they have the effect that they should. If you recognize that not everybody can accept your realization or be inspired by it, it will allow you to wait long enough to meet those forces that are inspired by it. But unless you understand the nature of that mechanic, you suffer very deeply. This can be a very, very uncomfortable gate. If you're born with the 47-4, you have to deal with all kinds of forces on the outside. And we all do, really. You know, we all have to deal with external repression, oppression, one way or the other, all of us. But we have different ways of dealing with it, each with our own particular styles. But the 47-4 is always fixed in the way that they deal with that repression. And it's grounded in the 22nd gate, fourth line, called sensitivity. Now, I don't know if it's true, so please comment if you have this Sun-Earth combination and you've explored what it means, what it feels like. But it seems to me that there could be some comfort in this grounding from the gate of grace, which I know can also be disgrace, but even so. There seems to be something in all of the lines of the 22 that can kind of almost soothe the gate of oppression, sensitivity, grounding, repression, bringing some, oh, I don't know. What do you think? What's your feeling on this grounding of the 22 to the 47? The moon today, the moon has just moved into the root center as I'm recording this for gate 58. It's moved into gate 58, and this is at 10:43 this morning. Gate 58 is the joyous, it's the gate of vitality. And stimulation is the key to joy, that's what it tells us. And we have a channel here because the South Node is in gate 18 in the splenic center, and it's the channel of judgment. It brings the gift of being a natural critic and seeing what could be improved in the world around you. There may be a drive to challenge everything in life, but it's important not to start offering criticism without being asked, because this is a projector channel. The moon then moves into another root gate, 38, at 20:55. This is opposition, the gate of the fighter. And this is the ability to preserve individual integrity through opposition to detrimental forces. The fuel from the root center brings the energy of a natural warrior who is always ready to stand up for the independence that they have and that they value, and to fight against the odds to find purpose in life. Deafness and stubbornness are found in this gate 38. And tomorrow morning at 6:58, the moon goes into gate 54, another root gate. This is the marrying maiden, the gate of ambition, with a powerful and fundamental drive to advance in the world and to be recognized for one's skills and talents. It's a tribal gate. It wants to fuel its ambitions on the mundane plane, but also spiritual ideals and aspirations, because both can lead to transformation. This is our fourth line today. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you for gate 5 tomorrow. And until then, as always, I'm going to finish my smoothie. I have got a smoothie here. Look at this. Isn't that a glorious colour? I'm going to drink my smoothie, and I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, go gently.